You're my extended family, all of you. How can I explain how I feel about all of you? Each of you is unique in my life. You don't blend together. You're precise. You're there. Let me just say welcome, everybody.
Yeah.
You know, we do not toss that word love around. It's sincere. It is so deep. I live through your explanation of the universe, that everything that comes to me is preordained. Welcome, everybody. Okay, today is going to be very different and exciting because the prints are ready to be printed. Kenny, could you come over here and I'll show you?
Of course.
This comes from Johanna. And she said it's ready for printing. So the information, everything is going to come to you.
So this is the print.
To be.
Eric's Full Circle Legacy is the name. And I'm going to zone in now a little bit. Oh, the sound went off. Hetty, say something?
What? Did you talk?
Yeah. Yeah, keep talking. It sounds like the sound went off.
Okay. I'll keep on talking. Let me tell you something.
Okay, wait 1 second. Let me plug and unplug again. Maybe it'll help.
It's so good to us so far. Okay, then let me enlarge something. Let me show you who I want to speak about.
Okay, but first let me just show all of this amazing print. Okay, good. The sound is better. Yay.
Wonderful.
Thanks for letting us know, folks.
Should I move it so we can have it, so you can go full face?
No, this is okay.
Okay.
Tori says I jinxed it.
Then I would like you to point to the first people I want to speak about.
But can I just go through the whole amazing, so people could see the whole thing. Okay, tell me where you want me to focus.
Okay. Let's point to Herbert Neusiedler, who is right over here. Because I'm going to be speaking about everybody too. There he is. Okay. First of all...
With the red tie, right? And the little goatee.
Is there a red tie?
Yes.
Yeah. And the little girl next to him. Okay, let me begin. There was a time when Eric said to me, Hetty, you had a wonderful childhood in Vienna until Hitler came. Don't let those memories discolor Vienna for you. I would like you just to remember the wonderful childhood you had before the Nazis said the Jews had to leave or they would be killed. And so we left. And then Eric said to me years later, Hetty, let's go back to Vienna. Let's find out if you could find the old Vienna again. The Vienna where you had such a beautiful childhood until Hitler came and you were forced to leave. And we went back to Vienna. And Kenny, can you point to Herbert?
Mm-hmm.
By the way, Dory's going to put this into YouTube because then Herbert can get to see it. Okay.
Now, Sandy said that it's frozen. If somebody could just let us know if it's not frozen anymore, that would be good. Hopefully this is not frozen.
Okay.
So if somebody could respond and just let us know.
So I'll speak about it anyway, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Well, we went back to Vienna. And he met us with a big bouquet of flowers. And we went to what Vienna was famous for, a coffee house. And we sat there and we talked. And let me tell you, Vienna is a miracle. And I think everybody who preaches hate needs to go back there and find who people were before the hate mongers came. And Herbert is a writer, and I gave him my father when we had gone to Panama to flee, because if we had stayed in Vienna, we would not have been able to live. We were forced to leave because Jews were not allowed under the Hitler regime. And there was a group in Vienna who went from house to house where Jewish people had lived and put a plaque there with their names and how they died, if they died, or if they escaped. And when I read about that, I said to Eric, we've got to write to that group. Maybe we can learn what happened to other people. We know what happened to us. We escaped. And so I wrote to that group, and a letter came from Herbert Neusiedler, who said, I lived right next door to that building that you lived in. And before Hitler came, Jewish and Christian children played together, did homework together. And then when Hitler came, the people who needed to hate came out of the shadows. And Eric said to me, find out who this is, learn whatever you can. And I did. And we had started a correspondence. And Herbert is one of the greatest people we ever knew. He was deeply affected by what happened. And when we came back to Vienna to meet him, he brought some of the people who had started the group that found out where Jews had lived and got their history. Well, Herbert is a writer, and my father had written a book about his life when we came to Panama. And when we came to America later, my mother wrote one about her life in English, because people who have lost their homes need to talk about it. And so they both wrote. And we gave the books to Herbert. And he translated my mother's book into English.
Her autobiography.
Yes.
He translated it into German.
Into German, right. Because it had been written in English. And he didn't have to translate my father's book because it was written in German. And this is the book that he published. And it says here, the true story of their life, of Jacob and Paula Kelman, wrote for their daughter. And it says, where do you come from? And it says the true story of the life of Jacob and Paula Kelman for her daughter was written for me. And he published it. And I just want to show you this wonderful publication. Kenny, my hands.
Sure, I'll grab it.
Thank you.
I'll just, show it that way.
Can you show the picture?
Yes.
I think it's just before that. No, I think it's right here.
Ah, yes. This is Hetty's mom, Paula, and her dad, Jacob.
And I need to speak about hate. When hate comes to people, very often they ignore it, because as in this place, you could take the people's furniture, you could take their bank account, all of which Hitler's people did. We were left with enough money for the ship to take us to Panama. And everything was confiscated. See, the wonderful thing about hate is you get to steal the things that the people whom you hate had. So let me now do something which fits with this.
There's a lot of comments if you want me to read them. But go ahead with...
Give me the comments.
You want the comments? Okay. So, Kina says, not Frozen. Megan Campbell Frasina is watching. Marcia says, not Frozen. Dory says, not Frozen. Megan says, it's fine. Greg says, it's not Frozen. Hi, Greg. Janine says, Frozen. So we had some different experiences. Julie says, not Frozen, all good, never froze for us. John Taracuso says, hi, Hetty. Hi, Ken. Hugs from California. Amy, sincerely, every time I see this masterpiece, I fall more in love with it. But mostly, I grow more in awe of it. Your talent, Hetty, is simply absurd. And wait till you see her little sketchbooks we're going to be doing later today. Mindy Spat is here. She says, love this painting and the stories. Love to you both. And Yola is, love to you, Mindy. Yola Pitakas is watching and says, hello, my Hetty, miss you. Kathy says, I finished reading your mom's book, Hetty. I could not put it down. I read through tears. And Julie says, how amazing that Grandma Paula's memoir was translated and published in German. I remember reading it in English many years ago. Is there still a copy at the Long Beach Library? As far as we know, yes, and in the Holocaust Museum. Kina says, Kenny, can you list the name of the book so we can look for it? I don't know if you'll find it online, but it's called...
I Follow the Tide.
I Follow the Tide, yes, and it's in English. Kathy Goldman Parker says, are there English translations, Hetty? And it's an amazing book. And yes, it was originally written in English. And again, it's called I Follow the Tide.
Okay. I want to address a question that people have asked me, and I have an answer. The question was, Hetty, how did you get to be an artist? And I owe it all to my first, second, and third grade teacher in Vienna. And I'm going to tell you exactly what I mean by that. She taught us joy. And I'm going to begin something. I want to teach it to people here in my America. How do I go about it? My teacher, Rosa Vogel, she never called us the Jewish children. She called it the Israelites, because the word Jew was terrifying to all of us. When I heard the word Jew spoken in German, I would tremble inside. I was so afraid. When a word is spoken with hate, it's terrifying. We use it against immigrants. And part of my speaking from now on is going to deal with the hate against immigrants. Because when you hate people you have never met, you become discolored inside. An evil spirit follows. And I was one of them, and I'm telling you, don't carry hate to the people who are trying to come into our home, America. Like me, they're asking for shelter. And the hate language in America is going to change my wonderful America. Not the people who are coming in, but the language of hate. Now, let me go back to my teacher. She taught me the one ingredient that art must have, and that is love. You must love what you're doing. How did she do it? When you got your copybook, you had to have a pen and a ruler and colored pencils, and you would take about an inch on each of the four corners of the copybook, and then take your ruler and your favorite colored pencil and draw a line from this hole to that hole, to this hole to that hole, to this hole to that hole, and create a frame. And in that perfectly framed first clean page, you put the day's homework. Let's say it was the letter A. So the first homework that you ever did was writing the letter A over and over and over within its frame. And the last one was always better than the first. And the joy of being allowed to frame your own work made us love. Later on, we learned to do other things. We designed a tablecloth with embroidery. We learned to draw, but only what we loved. We were never allowed to copy. You see, nowadays, children are taught to copy. How can you copy when you've never drawn before? So you do poor imitation. You can never be as good as the artist in a book. Not for a long time. So my lesson to you is only with love. And what I would like is the next time on Monday, can you, each of you, bring your own copybook, a new one, and a pin with a head, and a ruler, and colored pencils. And I will teach that, because I will do the same thing. And you will learn to love art, and then you will become good. But never if you copy somebody's work. Never, 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 never. Because you're not copying a first grader. You're copying a picture. And we will begin next week with that, okay? Now, let me show you how I discovered these books in Joni's home. Kenny, can I have the little one?
Yes, but let me just say, Carol Hodkin is watching, and let me say that Mindy says, my video went off, but I have the copy of I Follow the Tide by Paula Kelman that Hetty gave me years ago on my life. The version of the same book. Yes, it is. And Julie just told us, when I Googled I Follow the Tide by Paula Kelman, the listing pops up for the copy in the U.S. Holocaust Memorial Museum collection. Sadly, it states this record is not digitized and cannot be downloaded online. So I assume that the book is only accessible in person at the museum. Maybe we could get it digitized so that anybody could see it. If anybody knows about that or how to do that, let us know.
Maybe Dory does because she knows everything. She's brilliant. Okay, Kenny?
Yes. This is Hetty's sketchbook from 50 years ago.
From 1974 is this. Oh, yes. I got
Exactly half a century.
Went to the street in 1973. When Jody said, Mom, what do you really want to do? And I said, I would like to understand who people are. And I need to go and really go where they are. And she said, why don't you? And I said, because European-born women don't sit on street corners.
Okay, Mom, wait 1 second. Dory's saying fix the mic, so let me pop it in again.
Okay.
Keep speaking.
Keep speaking. Okay. So I went into New York, because in those days I was allowed to drive, which I'm not at 95. I'm not allowed. For the sake of the world, I'm not allowed. Come over here.
I do, because I think the sound is would be better this way anyway, too.
So I wanted to do real life. This was in 1974, I think. And this is real life. And I loved it. It's not a copy. Please don't copy. Do a garbage can. Do anything. But don't copy somebody else's work. And Kenny, you can turn and you can speak.
Okay. Meanwhile, Paula is watching. And Kina says we can hear you now.
Wonderful.
And Eileen says, and happy birthday, Hernan. It's Hernan's birthday.
Hernan, yes.
And Joe Tripp, too. Happy birthday, Hernan. Happy birthday,
Hernan
Joe.
and Joe Tripp. Two wonderful people in my life.
This says, looking at a painting at the Metropolitan Museum. I'm going to move ahead from some of these.
Show the beginnings of people when I was timidly trying to do street scenes.
Now this, can I show about this?
Yes.
These are studies for the Eldridge Street Synagogue, which I'm going to show you in a moment. So look at this fabulous.
See, I couldn't figure out the designs unless I drew them.
So this is this, and now I'm going to show you that this is what that was a study of. Was this.
Kenny, do you want to? I'll hold it so you can move further back.
It's okay. I can move further back just like this. Sorry, folks. Yes. So that's a study of this. Okay. Oh, looks like she's really scolding him.
Next week we're going to do a class.
And show you this one because we just have 3 minutes left. This one, this amazing one. Oh.
And remember, next week we begin classes.
So, Paula says, so happy to see you and hear you tonight. You keep us believing in goodness. And Keenha says, I know Eldridge Street. And Eileen says, oh, how you knock us out with your sketches, Hetty. Just magnificent treasures. And Carol says, amazing. And Julie says, amazing to see the study behind that painting. So much care, so much love and care in the details.
Love is the actual word, because when you give somebody an assignment and you say, draw an animal, draw a dog, but there's no dog in front of you. You make 4 legs. And you know, I've been watching people walking because one of my legs is shorter than the other since I broke the leg. And dogs walk with such rhythm. They have 4 legs, and each of those legs has a different support. And there's a rhythm. Imagine using 4 legs at once. And I think we forget about the rhythm. When we're first made, we have a rhythm. When a baby cries, it moves its arms, it shouts, it twists its face. Everything is in rhythm. They don't have a sour face as their mouth screams. There is a rhythm in life. And when you see something, look for the rhythm. Okay.
And let me just tell
Can you read any comments? I love comments.
Yes. I think. Yeah, 2 comments. So Paula Lakshan says, happy birthday, Hernan. We love you. And then Eileen says, my dog's name was Rhythm. Maybe you remember her.
I love it. First of all, happy birthday to Hernan.
And Joe.
Happy birthday to Joe. They're people I love deeply. On the other hand, you know what? I'm not using the word love casually. I know these 2. I need to know somebody before I love them. And let art be the same thing for you. Love what you're doing, or it does not love you back. Happy birthday to those of you who are also having a birthday. And thank you for being mine, all of you. Bye-bye. Remember next week, a new notebook, colored pencils, a needle with one of those little heads so you don't hurt yourself, and a ruler, and colored pencils. You know, I need to say goodbye because the clock says so. I love you all. When I say love, use it in your work, or people will know it. Bye-bye.
Julie says love you too.
Bye-bye.